And we'll be seeing some of Zapiro's cartoons. That's coming up in 30 minutes' time in the world this week. It's time now for a look at the day's business. Let's say hello to Brian Quinn.
Hey, Francois.
Brian, it's not the first time at a major Japanese company there's a problem with corporate culture, isn't there? People don't like to give bad news to the boss. This time it's Mitsubishi Electric, and the CEO is forced to step down.
Yeah, they seem to be coming one after the other, these Japanese industrial scandals. As you say, the president and CEO of Mitsubishi Electric stepping down. His resignation follows revelations that the company has been using computer software to generate false inspection data for air conditioners and braking systems for trains. Well, that CEO, Takeshi Sugiyama, called the fraud systemic, with senior managers at the company's Nagasaki Prefecture factory aware of the practice that has apparently been going on for some 3 decades. The latest scandal comes on the heels of a shakeup at Toshiba over that company suppressing activist shareholder activities. Sugiyama says Mitsubishi needs new leadership to rebuild trust. Here he is.
I have asked myself repeatedly whether I would be able to gain the understanding of all parties if I was to remain in my position as president. I came to the conclusion that it's necessary that I step down as president to allow a new management to work to recover trust in the company.
Next, the International Monetary Fund has raised its outlook for the U.S. economy. In its latest assessment, the IMF predicts American GDP will grow by 7% over 2021. That's the fastest pace since 1984. IMF says recent inflationary trends that have spooked investors are likely transitory, the result of an economy recovering in fits and starts. The fund expects U.S. growth to lift. Managing Director Kristalina Georgieva says the optimism is based in large part on President Joe Biden's physical and human infrastructure investment bills. The Democratic-controlled House passed a $715 billion transportation spending bill Thursday. It still faces negotiations in the Senate this summer. Here's Georgieva.
The jobs and families' plans are expected to produce a lasting improvement in income and living standards for many years to come. And in this regard, it is very welcome to see the bipartisan agreement to move forward legislation on the physical infrastructure parts of these 2 packages.
Time for a check-in on the markets. Wall Street on the rise as the U.S.'s latest monthly jobs report shows a solid 850,000 new non-farm payrolls, beating expectations. Those numbers helping to ease concerns over a labor shortage in the U.S. as hiring picks up in hospitality and tourism sectors. S&P 500 up nearly 0.5% at a new record high. European indexes with a lackluster session to wrap up the week as producer prices rise on the back of higher energy costs. London and Paris ending the day just below flatline. Frankfurt up 0.33% to end the day. Oil futures, meanwhile, wobbling as the OPEC Plus oil cartel continues its wrangling over just how much to ramp up production as demand comes back online. Brent crude up just slightly, WTI down around 0.33%. Next, France is gearing up for a record tourist season with more than 80% of French vacationers who might otherwise go abroad deciding to stay in the country this summer. Hotels and campsites here are already seeing occupation rates soar even higher than their pre-pandemic levels. But the tourism industry, has one major challenge, and that is a shortage of seasonal labor, one that's being met in part by students, as Catherine Bennett has the story.
In this hotel complex overlooking the Mediterranean, the upcoming summer season is looking busy. In July, 9 out of 10 rooms are already booked. But it's turning out to be difficult to find the staff to clean them. The hotel can't fill 15 posts, and so even managers have to muck in.
In a season like this, where it's proving hard to find workers, we all have to do our part.
France's hotel industry body says that the sector lost 110,000 jobs in 2020 and has already lost 31,000 in the first 3 months of 2021. Many seasonal workers haven't returned this year. Some have decided to retrain or change industry, and many foreign workers are staying away for now. But that's good news for students in France. Jean-Baptiste Albertini was spoiled for choice when he was looking for a summer job.
I applied to quite a few places that all accepted me, but in the end I decided to work here.
Without students, this campsite near Perpignan wouldn't have been able to open.
50%. Half of our staff are students, which hasn't been the case before.
France's tourism industry was already short of workers, and the COVID-19 pandemic has only exacerbated that shortage. Tourism represents 10% of France's GDP, but without the staff to keep it running, the country's economy faces yet another hurdle on the road to recovery.
And finally, for business, the UK's ongoing struggle to battle the Delta variant of COVID-19 has taken a major toll on businesses, particularly restaurants and bars. One tourist attraction in Somerset, though, is having no trouble filling its appointment book. The Golden Retriever Experience is a campsite filled with dozens of the goofy, affectionate dogs. It reopened for guests in mid-April and has recently been overwhelmed with requests after a TikTok video filmed there went viral. While with those bars still at limited capacity as the end of restrictions has been pushed back, outdoor options like the dog farm are often booked solid. If you do manage to get a reservation, prepare your wallet. An overnight stay runs you £180. Bit pricey. Looks worth it to me, Francois. I'd be right in there, wrestling them.
You got to make sure you don't feed the labs too much.
They have a tendency to balloon up. It's true.
Brian Quinn, many thanks. We'll have more business news for you later, including the closing word on Wall Street for the week. It's time now for a look at the day's sports.